Hey everybody, this is Zach from 12 Hike. I hope everyone's having a fantastic summer. My two boys are officially on summer break, and that means one thing. We're going to start our summer adventure season. I wanted to start off with something fun and easy and close to home. I could have just taken them to a playground or a park, but they have been bugging me to go fishing. And finally, I had a chance to take them out. So first thing this morning, we got a quick bite to eat, and we piled into the car and set off. It was going to be hot today, so I wanted to get out early, and that way the boys didn't get too hot while they're out there fishing. So we got to the pond at about 8 o'clock this morning, and we decided to fish a place called Simpson Ponds. I've been there a lot of times. I've caught numerous bass and panfish, and I was hoping that we would get some fast and consistent action to keep the boys interested. For me, that's one of the key factors for having a good time fishing with young kids. You want to make sure that you go somewhere that has a lot of fish and they're easily catchable, and you also want to go somewhere where it's easy to get to. You don't want the kids to have to climb up and down creek banks or fish with a lot of trees and branches overhanging, because it gets them frustrated. They're hanging their lures up in the trees, and it makes you frustrated because you spend more time tying on lures than you do fishing. One issue with this is when you fish at a place like that, more times than not, it means you're going to be catching tiny fish, what I would call dinks, and it's not really super exciting for the experienced angler, and that's okay. What you have to do is remind yourself that you're not there to catch fish. This isn't your fishing trip. You're there to take your kids outside and spend some quality time with them, and that's what really matters. You're there to get them involved in the sport, so don't get too awful mad whenever you have to untangle a fishing rod, or when one of your kids crosses the other one's line, or they start fighting. That's all part of the game. You just have to take it in stride and realize that sooner or later they're going to grow out of that, and then eventually they may not even want to go fishing with old dad because you're not cool enough. But luckily for us, we got there, and almost immediately the smaller crappie were more than willing to come out and play. For me personally, I was using the Go-To. I had my 16th ounce Roadrunner, and I'm switching up my plastics a little bit. I had a Euro-Tackle Micro B-Vibe. I've just started using this plastic recently. My co-host Sean turned me on to them, and boy, let me tell you, they are a great soft plastic. They've got a great action. Their color schemes are great, and they just attract fish. For the boys, I wanted to go with something nice and simple, so they were rocking the old school bobber and Nightcrawler. Like I said, I wanted them to catch fish, and I knew this would work. It's not a complicated lure that they have to cast out, reel in, cast out, reel in, and may or may not catch a fish. Within just a few minutes of getting there, my Roadrunner had caught a small crappie. So the boys are super excited. They were really engaged wanting to catch a fish. And luckily for me, my oldest is getting a little bit better at casting, so he made a nice cast, and within seconds of his bobber hitting down the water, he had a fish on. Caught it all by himself, hooked it, and what really surprised me is when we reeled it in, he wanted to hold it. Up to that point, fish had always kind of scared him a little bit. I'm thinking that him actually catching it might have made a difference. As quick as the bite turned on, it turned back off. It started getting really hot here in Colorado, and also my boys' interest turned off. And as much as I try to fight it, I do want to fish a little bit while I'm out there. So as a parent, I kind of cheated. I gave them my phone and let them watch some YouTube kid videos. And naturally, they had to start fighting over that. So once we get to that point where nobody's happy, it's time to load up and head home. And that's exactly what we did. But along the way, we also did some good things. We picked up some garbage, helped clean up our pond area. And I don't know what was going on, but there were goose feathers everywhere. And the boys had a heck of a time picking goose feathers and bringing them home to show their mom. So if fishing doesn't work, take a break, go explore. And that's probably going to be our next adventure, is just going out and taking a hike, exploring somewhere. They tend to like that a lot more than something like fishing where they have to sit down for a long time and really focus. They're 4 and 6. They can't really pay attention for that long anyway. That's just my own wishful thinking. I hope everyone enjoyed the video. I know I enjoyed making it, and hopefully this summer I'll get to show you a lot more of our adventures. Be sure to like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram. 12 Hike Challenge is our tag on Instagram. And then download our podcast. You can find it on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, or anywhere else you get your podcasts. Also, share our podcasts. And if you know anybody that would like to be on the podcast, have them send us an email. It's the 12hikepodcast@gmail.com.